Welcome to this explainer on why your financial life changes across 6 very specific money stages and why so many of us get completely trapped at stage number 3. To kick things off, let's picture a guy named John. Now, on his 40th birthday, John had it all, right? A stable job, a nice house in the suburbs, a totally decent car. By every outward visible measure, he was doing great. But John had this secret problem that he just couldn't bring himself to say out loud. And honestly, it was eating at him. He felt like he was running a marathon on a financial treadmill, sweating it out but going absolutely nowhere. You know the feeling. He wasn't lazy, he definitely wasn't careless with his cash, but true wealth just felt like a finish line that kept quietly sliding further and further away from him. $93,000. Okay, so why is this number so important? Well, that was John's exact net worth at age 40, a number that he had been completely frozen at for 6 long years. 6 years. And here's the crazy part. This was happening despite him getting steady raises at his job year after year. It's like every single raise he earned just vanished into thin air. He wasn't broke, not by a long shot, but he definitely wasn't rich. He was simply stuck in place. To really figure out why John was so stuck, we have to look at one very strict metric. True wealth is not measured by your salary. It's not your impressive job title, and it's certainly not the fancy car you drive. It is measured by your net worth. It is literally just everything you own minus everything you owe. Period. Your net worth doesn't care how much you bring home each month. It only cares about what you actually keep. Getting a firm grip on this single concept is the absolute key to figuring out why you or anyone else might feel stuck in the mud. See, building wealth isn't just a straight, smooth line up a graph. It builds across 6 distinct money stages, kind of like climbing a really steep set of stairs. First, you've got stage 1, survival, where basically every single decision you make is filtered through pure panic and fear. Then comes stability, where you finally get a tiny bit of breathing room. From there, it climbs into the plateau, hits momentum, reaches independence, and finally tops out at stage 6, freedom. That's the dream, right? Where your money officially becomes the main breadwinner in your life. 6 stages and 6 completely different mindsets required to survive them. But here is where it gets wild. Most people get completely trapped right here in stage 3, the plateau. We're talking about a net worth between $10,000 and $100,000. This is, without a doubt, the single most crowded step on the entire staircase. Literally half the country sits right at or below this line. And the real tragedy? The people frozen here almost always blame the exact wrong thing for their lack of progress. They are totally convinced that their one and only problem is a small paycheck. Being stuck in stage 3 honestly feels like a massive personal failure. But it truly isn't. As the late, great Charlie Munger so bluntly put it, the first 100,000 is a beast. Escaping his plateau isn't about you being bad with money. It is quite literally the hardest math problem in all of personal finance. He wasn't just being dramatic for the sake of a good quote. He was describing cold, real, unavoidable arithmetic. Let's actually run the numbers to see exactly why Munger was so spot on. Let's say you save exactly $500 every single month at an 8% return. Getting to that first $100,000 takes an exhausting 11 years. 11 years. That is a brutally long time to feel like absolutely nothing you're doing is working. But watch what happens next. The stairs get dramatically shorter and easier after you cross that initial wall. The next 100,000 takes only 6 years. The third, roughly 4 years. The absolute tragedy of stage 3 is that most people just give up right before the stairs start shrinking. This frustration happens because of the invisible math hiding inside stage 3. In the early days, your own savings deposits are doing all the heavy lifting because your overall balance is just so tiny. I mean, an 8% return on $10,000? That's just $800 for the whole year. It's barely visible. It feels exactly like trying to carry water in a leaky bucket. But that exact same 8% return on $500,000, that is $40,000 a year. The power is totally invisible early on, causing so many people to walk away just 1 year before the math actually turns in their favor. So this brings us to a huge realization. If it's not a low income that locks the door shut, and if we know the math eventually works in your favor, what is the invisible mistake keeping millions of people trapped in place? 2 words for you: lifestyle creep. That is the true jailer of stage 3. Think about John again. When John got a raise, he went out and bought a slightly nicer car. When he got a bonus, he upgraded his kitchen cabinets. And you know what? Each upgrade felt perfectly responsible and well-deserved in the moment. You work hard, you should enjoy it, right? But every single one of those upgrades quietly raised his baseline cost of living. If you spend every raise you get, your savings rate never goes up. And your savings rate, not your salary, is the only thing that decides how fast you climb those stairs. We call this the classic two-raise trap. Let's compare John to a coworker of his, Carla. They earn the exact same salary, and they both score a $6,000 raise this year. Now, John inflates his lifestyle, spends the new money, and his real financial progress just stalls out. Carla, on the other hand, does something radically different. She freezes her spending exactly where it was yesterday, and she invests the entire raise. Without earning a single dollar more than John, Carla instantly doubles her savings rate. Fast forward and multiply that single choice across 8 years. The results are absolutely staggering. After 8 years of working on the exact same salary, Carla crossed $200,000 in net worth, while John was still bobbing around near $90,000. This is the proof right here. Wealth isn't built on your paycheck, it is built on the gap between your earning and your spending. You widen that gap and you escape the plateau. It's that simple. Escaping, however, is a massive psychological battle. In stage 3, money basically becomes an identity crisis. A brand new car sends a really loud signal to your neighbors that you're successful. A kitchen remodel earns you immediate compliments on social media. But the people who actually escape, they make a very uncomfortable peace with looking totally ordinary. They drive the older car, they skip the crazy remodel, and they let their bank account grow instead of their image. It's a brutal emotional trade-off where your ego desperately wants the new shiny thing, but your future is begging for freedom. And man, this pressure to signal your success, it hits the absolute hardest in your 40s. For most people, this is the exact decade where the trap snaps shut. Incomes are peaking, and the temptation for the bigger house or the lavish vacation calls really, really loudly. But your 40s are also your absolute last big compounding window. Money invested at 40 has decades to grow. Money invested at 60 just doesn't. Freezing your lifestyle in your 40s is the quiet, behind-the-scenes decision that decides if you retire totally free or retire completely trapped. So, the mystery of why we get stuck is solved. The invisible math is out in the open. But how do we actually apply this blueprint? What are the exact, practical steps to break free from this stage 3 plateau once and for all? All right, let's get into the 3 exact moves you need to make right now. First up, play heavy defense, kill high-interest debt immediately. Listen, paying 18% on a credit card completely erases an 8% gain in the market. It's basic math. Second, freeze your lifestyle and bank every single future raise. Force that gap to widen. And third, automate your investing. Money that moves automatically before you even see it never gets spent by accident. Take willpower completely out of the equation because willpower will fail you. Do these 3 things and the math simply takes over. When you execute those 3 moves and finally cross that magic $100,000 mark, boom, you enter stage 4 momentum, and the entire game flips. Now your returns actually start to rival your own contributions. A strange new calm takes over your life. That raw, heavy fear from stages 1 and 2 loosens its grip, all because your money is finally pulling its own weight. Your effort stays exactly the same, but the financial results get visibly bigger and bigger every single year. Eventually, that crazy momentum carries you straight into stages 5 and 6, independence and freedom. Think about this. At $500,000, the system is finally working for you full-time. Your portfolio can generate $40,000 a year. That is a real full-time salary being earned while you are literally fast asleep. Doors quietly open, banks start offering you better rates, and you actually have the power to take risks, switch careers, or start that business. True freedom isn't about buying a private jet. It's the quiet, rock-solid safety of knowing your money out-earns your spending. So, back to John for a second. The guy stuck on the treadmill, remember? He finally woke up and figured this out at age 41. And no, he didn't magically land a new, massive paying job. He simply froze his spending for 3 incredibly boring years, banked his raises, and crossed that $100,000 wall. Once he did that, he accelerated fast and he left the plateau forever. His job didn't change at all. His relationship with the finish line did. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with one final provocative thought. Go ahead and calculate your real net worth stage today. Be brutally, completely honest with yourself. And then ask, do you truly just need a bigger paycheck? Or do you simply need the patience to stop spending your raises, freeze your ego, and widen the gap? The stairs are waiting for you. You just have to decide to climb.